So we are now getting ever nearer to Oleksandr Usyk, Daniel Dubois too. We've had some undercard fights announced. Have a look there on screen. So that is footage of Oleksandr Usyk in training. Now, I'm not going to be one of these guys who says, "Oh, it looks like he's bulking." It doesn't. Quite frankly, that's been said about Usyk before. It's been done to death. Every time Usyk has a fight, a heavyweight, it's been he's bulking, he's bulking, he's bulking, he's bulking, he's bulking. He's 230, he's 240, he's weighed in 220. And in all honesty, Oleksandr Usyk, certainly in that clip you see there, he's always lean, but he looks quite lean. It looks like he's taken this fight very serious, which is something that I think a few of us. I did mention it very briefly at the start of the year, especially at the Ring Magazine Awards show, where you could see in Usyk's face, which is something that you never normally see from him ever, that obviously he wasn't out of shape, obviously not, but he never is. But you could tell he was looking a little bit, just a slight by his standards, heavier. Now, when I say slight by his standards heavier, it's nothing to really worry about necessarily, but it's an interesting one when it's a fighter who, throughout the course of his career, has always been on it from the get-go, in and out of camp. That was just removed from the Tyson Fury fight. He obviously had a Merry Christmas. The Ring Magazine Award show was early January, so it's to be kind of expected after all that, fair enough. But for me, that was telling, because this is a guy who lives honestly, it's a crazy life he lives in terms of training, in terms of being an athlete, because he's not just a 24/7, 365 athlete. He is Mr. Consummate Professional. I mean, like this, you just don't see, dedication like this. And it made me wonder at the time, when you saw Usyk a little bit, a little bit of extra, not major, but a little bit, but unlike him, very on character, very unlike him, kind of made you wonder, has he checked out? Has he mentally checked out potentially? Is that Oleksandr Usyk saying, well, I've done it, I've ticked all the boxes at cruiserweight and now at heavyweight, and I'm ready to sail off into the sunset? That's what I was actually originally hoping, that maybe that was an indication that he's not planning on fighting again, that he's going to sail off into the sunset, as Tyson Fury apparently has. I say apparently. I paused for a very long time there. If you can't tell the sarcasm, it's there. That's what you get on this channel. I don't charge anyone for the sarcasm. It's a flat rate. But Oleksandr Usyk, I thought he would call it quits. I did. Announced he would be fighting Daniel Dubois. We kind of already knew when, and I'm not accusing Dubois of anything, by the way, of him pulling out of the Joseph Parker fight with no illness. No, I genuinely believe, truthfully, hand on heart, that it was legitimate, but it was a voluntary defence, so there was no need to redo it. If the Oleksandr Usyk fight was there to be made, I understand that. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I think Parker getting a rematch or getting the fight should have been the right thing to do, but I'm not doubting the validity of his sickness at all. I've never doubted that. I've always believed it was legit. It was just bad timing. A word beginning with S happens. That's the way it is. They make this fight, and straight off the bat, you can see Usyk again. He is on it. He is back to his normal self, and he is on it. And the way he's looking in training, the way he looked in that clip, and I know, look, he's clearly doing some resistance training. It's very different. Look, if boxing was all about resistance training, Anthony Joshua would be undefeated. He'd be undisputed heavyweight champion for the last 7 years, and no one would ever come close to beating him. If it was all about how you look in resistance training, that's obviously not the case, right? Andy Ruiz is not the body beautiful type. I wouldn't imagine his bench is quite good. But did that matter on fight night, June 1st, 2019? Didn't it? You know what. So I get that. But the fact he's looking lean, he's looking in good shape, that's a good indication to me. And what a lot of people don't really talk about is that although this is really I'm not going to say the end, but we're in the twilight phase of Oleksandr Usyk's career, right? For a good chunk of his career, pretty much post Tony Bellew, because he was very active up until he fought Tony Bellew. You may remember he won his world title in 2016 off Krzysztof Glowacki in Poland. He was fighting Tavisa Machunu on Bernard Hopkins versus Joe Smith's undercard 3 months later. Literally, it was win it in September, defend it in December. He was fighting Jason Sosa Loma undercard in April of 2017. He was fighting Marco Huck in, I think it was September. Then he's fighting Bradis in January 2018. He fights Murat Gassiev, I think it was July or thereabouts, and fights Bellew in November. So over that course of 2 years, it was just boom, 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 boom. Then he moves up to heavyweight, misses a year of action, faces Shez Witherspoon, misses another year of action, faces Derek Chisora, misses next to a year of action, faces Anthony Joshua, misses next to a year of action again, faces Anthony Joshua again, misses a year of action, faces Daniel Dubois, and then misses what are we looking at? We're looking at about 8 months faces Fury. 6 months later, he's back out again. 7 months later, he's back out again against Dubois. And this is what he needs: activity. It's something that's been lacking over the last couple of years. And I am convinced, right, that the reason he looked so good, he looked good in both Fury fights, but you could see a little bit of slippage in the first fight. You could. Fury had his moments. Usyk was able to adjust. He was the rightful winner. There's no one disputing that. But although the second fight was not as good, in a sense of it wasn't as entertaining as the first fight. There wasn't the drama. It was a more workman-like, consistent performance by Oleksandr Usyk. They some would argue that it wasn't so much Usyk looking good over the fact that Fury packed on a lot of extra weight. He didn't appear to be in the best physical condition, aesthetically. He never is, but even by his standards, he looked even fleshier than he did first time around. Fair enough. But I thought Usyk's movement in the Fury rematch looked a lot better. His stamina, he's never had an issue with stamina, but he was really working well in that second fight. In the first fight, you could give 3 clear rounds to Tyson Fury. In the second fight, you could only give one, round 5. None of them. Every other round, you could. I'm not saying Usyk won every other round. No, Fury had his share. But there's only one round you can categorically give to Tyson Fury, as opposed to 3 can categorically give to him in the first fight. So I thought that he looked a lot better second time around. The activity certainly helped him. Some people were saying at the kickoff press conference for Fury Usyk too, that Usyk was looking a little bit, chunkier, even though he's wearing the Asian 47 attire. And he had his head shaved. It didn't make any difference. He was still the same on fight night. So I think with the footage we've seen, he does look in good shape. The activity is certainly something that not a lot of us talk about. We talk about fighters growing old overnight, and yeah, it does happen. Activity is a big thing, and certainly for an aged fighter. Some would say that you need ample rest. I don't disagree with them, but I think 6 to 8 months is ample rest, especially if you're someone like an Oleksandr Usyk who lives that life. His rest is probably, running 5k instead of 10k. That's Oleksandr Usyk's probably interpretation of a rest day, quite frankly, looking at how he trains and how he handles himself. So those are my thoughts on everything. Let me know in the comment section below. Have you noticed Oleksandr Usyk? Do you think he looks in as good a shape? And does it really make it? Do you think he's going to go for speed? Does it matter in the long run? Or do you think that regardless, it's Dubois' night come July 19th, or it will be another box ticked for Oleksandr Usyk in an extraordinary career, which the only critique, and it's a minor critique, but it is a critique nonetheless, is that we are seeing a unprecedented amount of rematches. It's getting ridiculous now. Joshua twice, Fury twice, Dubois twice. Really? Come on. And God forbid we get a trilogy with Tyson Fury. I mean, that would be completely despicable on both ends, because Usyk would be playing his part in it, so he wouldn't get off scot-free either. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed it as always, people. If you could, smash the like button. If you could, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, peace.